What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're back once again for another video of career mode. This is episode number 94 for the US Grand Prix. It's a big episode for two reasons. One, because of the regulation changes, but two, this video is sponsored by Boohoo Man. How incredible is that? I've been a customer and a fan of Boohoo Man for years. You'll have seen me on social media wearing their stuff, but today we're collaborating. So big props to Boohoo Man for sponsoring this video. Yeah, as per the sponsorship, I'm wearing one of their new pieces from one of their collaborations between Trippy Funk 2 and Little Skies. It's a pretty out there piece. It's got a bit of a retro feel, but also tie-dye in various different colors. I love colors, as you can tell by my choice of cars, the way I dress, and even my racing helmet. So it's definitely up my alley. I really appreciate it. But anyway, I'm getting off task. There's a link down in the description where you guys can get 40% off. If you use the code Tiametmarduk in the checkout, you guys can get a discount on Boohoo Man products. So give it a go. It pretty much applies to anything apart from selected items and already on sale items. So give it a go. Thank you guys so much for supporting and allowing collaborations like this to be possible. But yeah. That's that out of the way. Let's get into the career mode video now, where we have a lot, and I mean a lot, to talk about. So let's get started.
Alright, listen up everyone. They've announced that the technical regulations are changing for next season. Now there's a risk a lot of our hard work could be undone if we're not careful. So let's figure out how to mitigate this. Drivers, take a look at the developments we have, and let us know what you want to invest in protecting. Alright everyone, let's get on top of this.
Okay then, so the bombshell has been dropped. We're going to take a look in a second and see what departments have been affected. We have had some pretty big ones in the past. You remember that infamous one which set us back about a season or so in terms of development. We won't talk about that. Let's hope that it's a small one. We're going to get into the progress history just quickly. Bit of progress made. Mercedes made big gains heading into USA, but it could all change as we head into the next season. And I feel like the deeper you get into career mode, the more likely it is that more departments will be affected. But I'm hoping it's nothing too crazy. Nice to see that Haas have overtaken Williams there. The field is predominantly very close. And look at that! We have 3 departments affected. Engine, chassis, and aero. The 3 performance departments. So basically, the whole F1 grid is going to be turned upside down as we head into the next season of career mode. That being season 6. We have, 3 races after this one to consolidate all of those parts. Now, there's no way that every team, there's no way that any team is going to be able to consolidate all those parts. There will be losses, massive losses, as we head into next season, and it's going to be down to us to minimize the losses, basically, to have the best car next season. So we're due for a massive reset. You could almost say this is like the 2022 regulations coming in that's going to slow down the cars by like 4 or 5 seconds. It could be as dramatic as that, depending on how many resource points we can save up. Now, you're looking at this screen and you're seeing me upgrade a part. Now, I had to actually... This is taken from before the announcement came in. So that was my last upgrade for the season. We now have to consolidate all of our parts. So, yeah, this was us fast-forwarding time. This is still the pre-announcement bit. And when we get to the US Grand Prix and actually go to the race weekend, that's when the announcement came in. So now, you're up to speed. And I think at the end of this race, or the start, when we head into the next episode, we're going to do the upgrades. We're going to consolidate the upgrades and really work on what we want to save for next season. Now, predominantly, I want to save chassis upgrades, more specifically, weight reduction upgrades. I think they're the most OP upgrades you can save. And then next, probably downforce, I'd say. We can always buy a good engine, I suppose. But yeah, we move into the race weekend now. Practice 1. Interestingly, you'll see on the right-hand side, there are AI cars who went faster than me on intermediate tires and even wet tires. I set my best time on a dry compound tire. And Lando's gone faster than me on inters. Charles Leclerc in a slower car has gone faster than most of the field on wets. That just makes absolutely no sense. Or does it? I don't know what to believe anymore. When we get this deep into career mode with upgrades and everything, the whole code just goes a bit funky. There are some tracks where the AI are just stupidly fast. And guess what? This is one of them. So here we go then for the US Grand Prix. Yeah, this is one of the really OP tracks for the AI. This and Silverstone are right up there. I don't know what it is about this place that makes me so slow here. I feel like this is actually a really good circuit for me in league racing, or it has been in the past. It's a very technical circuit. You need to be very good on the pedals. A lot of traction zones, a lot of heavy braking zones. We got a nice big old toe from Mick Schumacher there. But this first lap in Q1 has actually been pretty sloppy, so I don't think it'll be anything special. As we come up to the line, it's a 127.2, puts us in P10. We go for another lap, and as you can see, the balance of the car is a bit off there. The car is a little bit oversteery. I've loaded one of my newer setups, a setup that I got from Bahrain the other day in that 100% race. I've applied it here. I'm not sure that it's worked entirely well, but it's a new setup. It's miles newer than anything I'm running at the moment. So to counteract the oversteer, I guess, I've chucked the rear wing, the front wing down by 1 notch to 2.7 wings. But we're 2 seconds off Lando Norris's time, which is rather concerning, because I know I didn't put in a great lap, but it's not 2 seconds slower kind of lap, which is really concerning. But anyway, we go out again on the same set of tires that we spun on, which is probably not a good test. But 2.7 wings just really didn't work for me, if I'm honest. I just got a lot of understeer and still had that tinge of oversteer in the corners that you don't really want them. This car was quite undrivable, I would say, especially on power. I don't know why. It's just I couldn't lay down the power very well. The drive traction, not great. And at a circuit like this, that is going to spell a bad weekend. And we're already locked into the setup that we've loaded. So that's it's not great. I don't even think, even with a USA style setup, which wouldn't have been too drastically different to what we're running now, I don't think that would save us, to be honest. This track is just an enigma in career mode. The deeper you get into career mode, the OP tracks of the AI only gets, I don't know, the problem only gets magnified, basically. So, yeah, we're currently in P15 in Q2, but we did do a run on a used set of tires. This is our one and only lap on our last remaining new set of tires. We're 5/10 up on our previous best. Let's see if this can get us into the top 10 shootout for qualifying 3. We go up to the line, and it's only good enough for P12. 1.5 seconds shy of Lando Norris, our championship rival, who I might add behind, by the way, is behind us in the championship standings. So there you go. We have no pace over the course of 1 lap. We're going to go to the Grand Prix in just a second, and we're magically going to have all our pace back, probably.
Tough luck there. It's not quite where we'd want to be on the grid, but chin up, it's not the end of the world.
Here we are then in one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, the fabulous Austin, in the great state of Texas. The circuit itself 14 miles southeast of the city centre and home to the US Grand Prix since 2012. The latest in a long list of iconic tracks to have that honour. Also here, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about day. No grid penalties, no mitigating circumstances, just a poor qualifying performance of A very disappointing start position for them today.
They'll have a sinking feeling as they look up from the cockpit and realise they're in a different postcode to the start line for sure. But the one positive they can hold on to is that the car is quick and they can make their way through the field.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Alexander Albon put in a great lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Bottas, Kvyat, Pierre Gasly, and Sainz, Leclerc, Vettel, Ricciardo, and Lando Norris. They've taken a grid penalty. Day, Russell, Esteban Ocon, and Stroll, Hubert, Giovinazzi, Kevin Magnussen, and Nick de Vries, Matsushita, Latifi, Aitken, and Mick Schumacher. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
How many times do I need to say this, Jeff? Yes, we're a top team. Of course we're going to have points on the board. We're not back markers. Let's adjust our priorities, shall we? Anyway, I'm going to adjust mine to this race now. Soft to hard. And we're going to take out basically all the fuel and gear up for what is hopefully going to be an epic drive back towards the front. We are underway in Texas for a Marduk Motorsport 6th row of the grid by virtue of Lando Norris's penalty. But we get out-dragged by a couple of cars. We head down into turn 1. Stroll steaming up the inside of Carlos Sainz and Sebastian Vettel for good measure as well. We find ourselves in P11. Lando Norris going backwards. So it's a bit of a role reversal for the two teammates. Let's see if we can follow each other through in this race as we try to go right around the outside of our teammates. Teammate to be, hopefully. Fellow Australian, Daniel Ricciardo, as we move up into P10. I tried to, around the outside, move on Vettel at the very next corner. And as you guys saw, it didn't really turn out too well. As we get nice drive traction out of the slow left-hand hairpin. And we're going to put Sebastian Vettel under pressure on this back straight. The pace is already looking a lot better than in qualifying. Round the outside of Sebastian Vettel. And we might even get Stroll if we're brave enough, which we are not. I don't think that's a case of bravery, but more stupidity there if we would have gone for that move on Stroll. We're going to bide our time. It looks like the car pace is fantastic as we get a great run through the third sector, and we're now up in a position 8. Where has this pace come from? I told you. I was even thinking this when I was doing this at the time. Our pace always is better in race trim than what it is in qualifying. The AI are just a bit silly in one-lap shootouts. Their pace is untouchable. But to be fair to them, the balance of the car was horrific in qualifying. The car was all over the place. I think it's that extra engine mode you get. It just makes the power delivery just a little bit too erratic, and it's really hard to control the revs at this point of the career mode. But in race trim, on these tyres, the balance feels great as Sebastian Vettel has now retired from the Grand Prix. We're going up the inside of Carlos Sainz, a massive dive bomb there. He's given us contact, and we've lost our front wing. And miraculously, it's on the side of the car. We've got damage on the side of the car, which didn't receive any contact. Look at this. Contact on the left, damage on the right. Codemasters, masters of code, would you care to explain this one? Obviously, the energy has gone in from the right-hand side of the wing and has shattered the left-hand side of the wing, as you saw it reverse on screen. But that is the silliest thing I think I've ever seen in sim racing. Contact on the left part of the wing, and I get damage on the right. Simulation damage for you folks. But yeah, we've got to change the wing, which we're going to do very shortly. I think we're going to assess the damage. I'm going to carry on for an extra lap. I'm going to see what the damage is like, basically, and see if we can keep pace with the leaders. If we can, I'll stay out, but if the pace is horrible, then we're diving it in straight away. And I think we can tell already the pace, or at least the loss of speed is pretty dramatic, especially through the high-speed corners. So we're going to bring it in almost straight away. We're going to change on to the hard compound tires, and we're going to hope that we can get to the end of the Grand Prix from here. The race strategy was originally stopping on lap 10, so 5 laps early, which is a lot of laps. It's a big difference in a 50% race. This will be stopping like 10 laps before your pit window. It's definitely not ideal, but it's the only choice that we have going forward. So, out onto the track. New change of tyre, new change of wing, and still that pit stop was a lot faster than a F1 2010 pit stop I posted on my Clips channel the other day. Shout out to that. Link in the description. But yeah, we just kept trucking along after we came out on the new tyres. Pace wasn't great, I'll be honest. And actually, one crucial thing is the balance of the car was really odd. The balance of the car was really good on the softs at the start of the stint, as Mick Schumacher is having a bit of a mare through turn 1. Not really sure what's going on there. I'm guessing he got spun into that part of the track and was just having troubles getting going in the right direction again. But yeah, I am struggling on the hards. I'm getting a lot of oversteer like I was in qualifying, and it's rather odd because you'd think that the hards would induce a lot of understeer, but the opposite is kind of happening, strangely enough. Maybe the tyres weren't up to temperature in the first few laps. Hopefully the balance will sort itself out as we get further into this Grand Prix. But yeah, while I was waffling on about the balance of the car, Lando came into the pit lane, changed his wing, and is behind us now, as we can see one of the Alfa Romeos, that's Giovinazzi, doing a Mick Schumacher, I think, at turn 1, and he's also going to have a bit of a problem of his own while the Renault was smoking. I think no, it wasn't an engine failure, it was just rear tyres getting wheel spun out of there. But yeah, it's all cracking off in this US Grand Prix. We're now up in 8th place, make that 7th, with potentially more pit stops yet to come as we run through the order. We can see Valtteri Bottas, not too far up the road, is on the soft compound tyre, as is one of the race leaders, Alexander Albon, on softs. So Albon and Bottas have to stop again. The rest of the runners in front of me are all on hard compound tyres, and right on cue comes VB for his final stop of the day. So he's ran softs twice. I don't imagine he's going to use hards to finish off this race. He doesn't. He goes on to mediums, and he's going to rejoin pretty much bang on where we are. So he was nearly a pit stop ahead of us. That is the, I guess, the benefit of running the faster tyre through the first 2 portions of the race. In his case, 2 stints already done for him. I'm on my 2nd, and hopefully this will be our final stint of the race, unless there's a safety car, in which case I might make a pit stop onto some better rubber. But that little drag race we just had right there is very telling for how this race might turn out for the rest of the Grand Prix, as we have a bit of a tank slapper through the 3rd sector, and Valtteri Bottas is up the inside into the penultimate corner. A bit of contact is made there. Somehow no front wing damage has been received. I guess we had all of our bad luck at the start of the race, and now we're finally having some good fortune as Albon is into the pit lane and out as well on his medium compound tyres, and rejoins just 2 seconds up the road. So there we go, chaps. This is the fight for P6 in this US Grand Prix. This is, well, this could be telling for our championship. If we let Valtteri Bottas go here, or if he gets in front of us, this could cost us the championship. Max Verstappen is, I think, pretty close to us on points in the standings, and it's looking very likely that he's going to get a race win today. We cannot afford to give up any more points than what we've already given to Red Bull today. So it's going to be my number 1 priority to make sure I finish in at least 6th place in this US Grand Prix. We've got 8 laps to go, and the advantage for Bottas is going to be most apparent in the early laps of this medium compound tyre stint. Because I've got the harder compound tyre on, my tyres are going to wear out slower than his. So as long as I can keep him behind for the time being, we're in the box seat to hopefully finish ahead of him. And finish ahead of him, I intend to do. So we're weathering the storm pretty well at this stage. It really helps that we've got actually the fastest car in a straight line this race weekend. I was topping out the speed traps in practice. I know it's only practice, but still, it's got to count for a lot, hopefully. We've got 5 laps to go, and Valtteri gets a really nice run every time out of those last few corners out of the first sector. My tyres really start to cry for mercy by the time we get to there, and it really puts Bottas in a good position on this back straight. For the first time, he's actually overtaken us, and we're going to use the slipstream to get back in front of him if we can. Down into the middle sector now. We get up the inside of Bottas. He tries the switchback. We do get a bit of wheel spin, which draws him alongside. He has the outside. We're going to escort him wide onto the marbles, and there's a bit of contact made right there as the track kind of closed off there. However, we've kept the position, which is all that matters. Meanwhile, up the front, unfortunately, Danny Kvyat running in P2 has just received, I don't know, he's got some kind of a performance loss, then he's going to drop off the back of Max Verstappen, who he was closing in on for the lead of this race. But that right there is a battle just up the road with Albon getting past, I think, Charles Leclerc. And now we cut to the emerging threat behind of Lando Norris, who was only 1.4 seconds behind. This could be a 3-way fight for the top 6 in this US Grand Prix. There goes Valtteri Bottas up the inside. We're going to squeeze in. We're going to go around the outside at the exit of turn 1. A bit of wheel spin again on exit. The rear tyres are really starting to die off on these hard compound tyres. We've been on them for 20 laps. If this was a 100% race, it's the equivalent of being on these tyres for 40 laps. And 40 laps on any tyre in Formula 1 is an absolute eternity. But here comes Valtteri Bottas again in this section of the track. He's massively fast. We just need to make sure we get a decent exit. He's escorting us off the track there pretty much. And that's going to allow Lando Norris to have the best run out of any of us as he gets the slipstream and DRS for the first time and draws alongside for P6 in this US Grand Prix. He's trying to go around the outside, but just like I've been doing to Bottas, I'm going to make him go around the long way, and I'm not going to, give him any favors. I'm not going to escort him to some extra points on us in the championship. Here comes Bottas up the inside of Lando, but not only him, me as well, as we made contact at the apex of the corner. It's now lap 26, and the battle only escalates as Bottas goes for another dive bomb into turn 1. He doesn't have the traction. The thing about a move up the inside into turn 1 is it never works as he goes side by side through here. But thankfully, he backs out. Guys, I don't know how this race is going to end. I think it might potentially end with 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 of us in the barrier by race end. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, because we're all collectively wanting to take the title off of Max Verstappen, who currently has one hand on the trophy, not only in terms of this race, but the championship as well. If he wins this, then he's going to be a race win ahead of us in the standings, and that could prove to be the end of our championship campaign. But here we go. Here comes Bottas again. This is the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix, trying to go around the outside. And again, I'm going to show him the door. I'm going to make him go around the long way. He can't pull it off on those medium compound tyres, which with every passing corner become less and less potent up against my hard compound tyres. Even though the tyres themselves are at like 60% across most of the tyres. 61% is the worst on the left rear, but also the front right as well. So the tyre wear has been somewhat balanced across all the tyres, which is absolutely lovely to see. Maybe the balance isn't as bad as what I was making it out to be.
This is your final lap of the race.
But here we go. It is the last lap of the Grand Prix, and we know from our testing that the AI love to ramp it up on the last lap in terms of their battery allotment. This is basically going to be a qualifying style lap for Valtteri Bottas, and we're going to see the true nature of the straight line speed coming out of the back of the works Mercedes. We'll see if they've got any extra horsepower up their sleeve. Again, this part of the circuit right now, the tyres are screaming for tyre wear, grip, and temperature, which gives Bottas the golden run as we head down into this hairpin for the last time. Can't really get the nose in too well. A little bit late on the power, but still the straight line speed prowess, the efficiency of the drag reduction upgrades we've applied to this car are working wonders. Up against one of our championship rivals, again, Bottas can't do anything on that on the start finish straight, on the back straight. Sorry for ruining the immersion for all you guys there. Max Verstappen wins the Grand Prix, and I've got to say that is very formidable for the championship. Through the last couple of corners, Albon gets 4th place and fastest up of the Grand Prix, 13 points for him. For us, it's going to be P6 at best. Last 2 corners, Bottas is ever close, but he's not been close enough to steal it away from us. So we're going to get 8 points from this US Grand Prix.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
Not bad. Not bad at all after what has been a disastrous Grand Prix right from the start of the race weekend.
That's it then for another magnificent United States Grand Prix, and they've hung on to take a sublime victory here today. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone at the team.
So there we go. Max Verstappen is looking very, very strong for the championship. And, you know, seeing him on the top step of the podium could be a very familiar sight in real life as well in 2021. As I film this, we haven't seen the first race yet, but it could well be a possibility. Sebastian Vettel, Kevin Magnussen, your only DNFers of the Grand Prix. Mick Schumacher having his excursions. Near the start of the race, we had our comings together with Bottas at times, but Sainz was the big one. The one that really killed our race. The weird damage. The side of the car which actually had contact, there was no damage there. The random bit of front wing fell off the other side of the car, which has completely ruined our day. So we trailed by 26 points. Lando is ahead of us in the standings, and you know, with 3 races to go, we need big points at the next Grand Prix. We need absolutely massive points. And I believe the next race is Mexico, which is fortunate for us because Mexico is a really strong track, and I'm going to need to pull out all the stops to win at the next Grand Prix. But even still, that's not good enough. We're going to have to win at least 2 of these last 3 races and be on the podium for the final one, and hoping that we can claw back points on Max in every race. So I guess this now poses the question, guys, for this next episode, and I need you to tell me right away, should we upgrade the... What have we got left? We have one more upgrade which we can do performance-wise, and that is the ultimate tire wear upgrade. The broken upgrade from, well, seasons gone by, games gone by. Should we unlock it and hopefully go for the championship? It's going to put us in a worse position next season with the regulation changes, but do we risk it for the chocolate biscuit and try to win this year's title? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as I said at the start of the video, thank you to Boohoo Man for sponsoring this video. Tiametmarduk for 40% off is the code, so yeah, be sure to make use of that. And once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys for a brand new video very soon. God, I hope we win this championship.